Hey, what's up, guys? Back from the deck profile here. Now, I've been meaning to do this deck for a while. It just kind of took some time to get down and tested and stuff. I have a very different build this list than the ones that I've seen. I want to give a shout out to Kazaris. I actually really like the way his takes on the deck were. I saw a bunch of other channels too, but I liked his stuff. But obviously, I made my own list. This is just the first version of the deck. I kind of built the deck like a turbo. Almost kind of like Dragon Link, if you want to think about it like that, because I like that deck. So, without further ado, guys, fucking Agents with the old Wave of Light structure deck, man. It's babes, man. But I'm gonna obviously go over this. I'm gonna show you a combo video at the end of this, and also shout out to my boy, the Worst Duelist on YouTube. That's one of the homies too. All right, so. Starting off 3 Neptune. I actually really like this card at 3. It's just this card. You always want to see this card. I think this is a 43 card list. But what this card does, Neptune, so you can discard it, non-targeting, special summon an agent monster from your grave or hand. If you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field or in the graveyard, it special summons a Hyperion monster instead. Also, if it's banished, it adds a Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. This card's just very good. There's multiple just different lines of combo. There's so much this deck does, it's kind of crazy. So obviously 3 Earth. This is the normal summon. Normal summon adds an agent from deck to hand. If you have Sanctuary in the Sky, it adds a Master Hyperion. So one of the old cards. I used to play TG Agents back in the day, in like 2011, I think. I just miss playing this deck. It's been so long. I'm playing 3 Venus and 1 Destruction, obviously. So there is a combo where you can do 9 Shine Ball summons. I'm sure everyone that likes this deck is aware of that combo, so I'm not going to show that here. But I really like the 1 Destruction and the 3 Venus. The way I built this deck too was also real quick. The Destruction Venus, you can summon out a deck with Hulk too, which is kind of important, just in case you open the Protecting Spirit card to make a Master Hyperion. But the regular Venus, there was hands that I drew with this deck where I would just open Venus, and I was just like, man, like what can I do with this? So I kind of built it like around that aspect in case I just open Venus. And obviously the fucking 3 Shine Balls. I mean, it's just I just really like the Venus and Shine Balls and stuff. Like I said, shout out to Kazaris. I just really liked his take on the list where he didn't play Shine Ball. I might have another list. I'll have a couple different lists of this deck. There's a couple different ways I want to take it, a couple different routes, but we'll see. And then shout out to my boy Cody. So we got the 3 Diviner and the 3 Orange Light. I think Orange Light is just very good. I think this card is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why you wouldn't play it. It's also just a level 2 tuner, which is just very nuts in case you don't have a normal summon, but you have a level 8 to synchro with to make the Master Flare Hyperion. Then you can just literally just do what you want to do. And obviously Diviner is insane. I'm going to show you a combo again in this, like I mentioned. And then for the Hyperions in the main deck, playing 2 Majesty and just 1 regular. The 1 Master Hyperion, I thought this deck was actually pretty good at going second and breaking boards personally, from what I found through testing. So I only want to play 1 of this. Obviously, it's searchable if you have Sanctuary in the Sky and Earth, or you can search it with the Waters in the Sky, the spell card. The card's just very good. And obviously Majesty Hyperion. I just always like to see this card. Obviously, you can send it with the link too, and then just summon it back from the graveyard. But I just liked opening this card personally, so that's why I played 2 of it. And then this card too. This card's just fucking gross. So Guardian Eatos. So obviously this card, if you have no monsters in graveyard, you can special summon it. Its other effects are relevant, but it's a wind, so it actually puts you in a good position against Flunder if they just have M-Pen or the Barrier Statue, because sometimes you can just make Baron off the rip to deal with the M-Pen in defense position, and then you're fine. Plus this card is just very good. You always want to see that card, to be honest. And I think this is the only non-fairy in the deck. We are playing Plague Spreader Zombie. Once again, shout out to my boy, the Worst Duelist. When he was talking about this card, I was like, oh yeah, dude, we'll put it in here. And it's come up a lot, so I'm glad that I'm playing this. Also, shout out to my boy Wayne. He sent me this one. This is the one he sent me in the mail, bro. And then I'm only playing 1 Protecting Spirit. So this card's kind of like Noctivision. Whenever a fairy monster effect activates, you can special summon it from your hand. And it has 2 more effects. The most notable effect is you can negate a dude and then turn one of your dudes face. Or I'm sorry, is it pop a card? I can't remember. Target position. One's card if you use. Yeah, target one card your opponent controls in one attack position. Monster you control, flip yours face down, destroy the other one. So this card's just very good. And like I said, with the Destruction Venus, you can summon it. If you have this on board, you can Needle Fiber into Destruction Venus because it's a level 3 tuner, and then you can still make the Master Flare, which is kind of important. So, and then I'm only playing one Chaos Valkyrie. I only ever wanted to see this card once. This card's very good. I actually haven't drawn it a whole lot, so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it yet. I don't know if I need to up the ratios with it or not, or my boy the Worst Duelist, he was playing Chaos Space with Chaos Creator. I tested that a little bit, and that stuff's in the honorable mentions. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, but obviously, like I said, I'll have more built to this list after I get a lot more testing, and I've already tested a lot with this deck, though. I'm actually playing Christia still, because off the Parshath Link 3, there's a combo where if you make the Parshath Link 3 after you search the Fallen Sanctuary, the trap card, on your opponent's turn, if you do the Hulk to pop the Scythe, and then you, with the Hulk into the Wonder Magician to pop the Scythe summons, activates, and then you synchro with the Wonder Magician and the Scythe into Baron or one of the level 10s, into Chang Ying or whatever. The Parshath Link 3 will trigger and you can summon a fairy from hand, so you can just summon this from hand if you do add it with Parshath or if you hard drew it. And then I'm actually playing the Tyrus and the Buten, the big dude. This is fucking ridiculous. I remember when this went to this was like a $4 common. I found one. I only found one in a bunch of my bulk stuff, and I was like, well, that's good. This card's hilarious. Banish it from graveyard, target a level 4 or lower, normal fairy or something, and it makes it a tuner. So it makes your one shine ball a tuner. This card's actually just very insane. I enjoyed hard drawing this card. I almost wanted to play more of it, but I was like, you only want to see it once ever. So obviously you send it off to Viner, and I'll show you that in the combo. But it is a quick effect to tribute a fairy, so if you do draw this in hand and you summon Diviner to activate effect and they imperm, you can chain this from hand or graveyard to tribute off the Diviner, so it dodges the imperm or the Veiler, so that's the special, and then this is on board. His other effect, if you tribute one fairy, he summons himself. If you tribute 2 fairies, destroys a card on your opponent's. I've never used that effect. And if you tribute 3, you draw 2 cards. That's never come up either, but card's just very nice, I think. Also, one thing that I saw was when I was testing is if you do open this and you go into the full extend board or whatever, and you still have this in hand, and they nib you on a certain point where you don't have Appaloosa up or something like that, you can chain this and you get a little bit more value out of just getting nibbed to death. So last 2 monsters is the Scythe. Obviously, this is a fairy, which I kind of thought I felt like you have, if this card's legal and you can play, since this card's legal, and if you can play it, you probably should. This card's just gross. And being a fairy in this deck just makes it that much better. So, and then the last one so I actually tested this as a 2 of at first, and I was just originally I wanted to play 3 of it, and I was like, 3 is too much. I was playing a 50 card list. I've cut it down and changed it since then, obviously, but this card, it's gonna seem gimmicky, and people will be like, that's fucking garbage. I want you to test this if you're testing agents. The card worked insanely well for me personally, but it's the Hecatrice, whatever you want to call it. It's just you discard this to search Valhalla, and if Valhalla is just like Call of the Mummy, if you have no monsters on board, you can special summon a fairy from your hand once while you have no monsters. But I'm just playing 1/1 right now. This card's actually, Valhalla's been actually just insane with my hands. Where hands where you'll open Diviner and Earth, you can just special Diviner, do that whole combo, then normal the Earth, and your hand's just this card does a lot for you. I know a lot of people will be like, that's fucking trash. I want you to test it, though. At least somebody test it and be like, yeah, it's worked out very well for me. I am playing One Sanctuary in the Sky. This card's just very cool, too. Also, I forgot to mention with Majesty Hyperion, this isn't super relevant or anything, but obviously you get down in life a lot with this deck. You can come back down here, Dave. And you don't take battle damage with a fairy monster, but you can still set up your Appaloosa and stuff, because you pay 3K minimum on your turn. Well, sometimes 3K, sometimes it's 4,500 if you want to do the 9 Shine Ball effect. But the Majesty Hyperion that I forgot to mention was your opponent takes any damage you would have also from a battle. In a mid-game state, you can actually just cheese the win off of this. There's a couple times where we played, what was it? I think I was playing against my dude's Dragon Link, and I just ended up ramming. I was at a certain life. He was way lower than me because he just Strudoed and then took some battle damage from me in the turn or whatever. and then just crashed a couple shine balls, and I could live through it into the Borland, and he died. So, and then my last one of is the Monster Reborn. I just thought this card was just very good. This card just, it's Monster Reborn. So, and then I'm gonna go back to this actually in a second. So I'm playing 3 of this is the Rhoda. So it searches out, Sanctuary in the Sky, or a monster that mentions it in the title. If you have Sanctuary Sky face up on the field already, you gain 500 for each agent and Hyperion monster you control, which means on board. So it gives you some of the life back that you pay for the shine balls. But this card's just also, it has the Baling's effect. If a card that has the Sanctuary in the Sky and its text will be destroyed by battle, you can banish this from grave instead to protect it once. And then I'm actually playing this card. I saw a lot of people play Crossout Designator. I think that card's just not as good in here. I'm playing 3 Salesman. So I think this card is just super fucking underrated. Because like with this deck too, if you're going first, you can look at your hand obviously when you're about to play and be like, oh, my hand is very weak to Ash. My hand is very weak to Nibiru. Obviously, I'm not playing any hand traps. I thought this deck was just very fine without playing any hand traps. Sometimes you would side in like Nib and stuff, but even going second, like if your opponent has like a Savage up, World Savage or whatever, you can just call that card's name and it can't be used that turn. You can't use it for the rest of the duel. It's like a soft imperm sometimes going second, and then going first just stops the problematic card that ruins you, like Nib, or because this deck can play through Ash a lot. The Nibiru is the problem card sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes, but not all the time. And then 1 Fallen Sanctuary. This is searchable off the Parshath. So this card's actually just very good. So when you activate it, it basically just sets this card, which gets you a follow-up Rhoda for the next turn. Also, you can banish a fairy monster in your graveyard, target 1 monster your opponent controls, and impermanent, which also triggers the Cheng Ying, the Sword Swool, level 10 synchro in your extra deck to banish 2, which is just very good. So, and then for the extra deck, I'm playing 5 synchros, 1 Master Flare, 1 Cheng Ying, and 1 Baron. These are the 10s. All of these are insane. Master Flare is easily my favorite one. This is definitely a close second to Baron. Baron's insane, obviously, but Master Flare, what he does is he can send the agent or a card that lists Sanctuary in the Sky from your extra deck hand or deck to graveyard, copies that effect till the end of the turn and becomes the card's name. So it's like a Phantom of Chaos. Also, if you go first and you use that effect, summon all the shine balls and stuff and do that. On your opponent's turn, his effect returns to normal, which his effect is if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can banish 1 card, target and banish 1 card your opponent controls. So it's just a nice little disruption. 3200 level 10, which is very good. And then the other 2 synchros, obviously Wonder Magician for the Scythe. Don't have to say anything about that. Card's probably going to get banned if Scythe doesn't. And then Pluto. So Pluto, I haven't summoned Pluto a whole lot. This card's very good. It's still very good, but I haven't, summoned it a whole lot. You can summon it off a Hulk, which is kind of nice if you don't want to do the Wonder Magician play, which 99% of the time you're going to do the Wonder Magician Scythe play, but into Baron or whatever. Pluto, so Pluto is if you have the Sanctuary in the Sky, field or graveyard, it's a quick effect Book of Moon on an effect monster, which is very good. You can also banish this card from your graveyard to add back the Sanctuary in the Sky from your graveyard, which is pretty good. Then the Link one's playing 1 Almirage. You can summon Earth, search Neptune, link this off into Almirage, and then discard the Neptune to special back the Earth. And then you have a Hulk, which is pretty good. And then so I went a completely different, like off the wall route, like I was talking about with the shine balls. In case I just opened Venus, which has worked amazing for me so far. I'm playing 1 Link Spider. Yeah, shout out my boy Lewis. Fan favorite, and 1 Amduk. I've been considering making a World Legacy agent list just because of this card. So you can link off. It's a link 1 for a normal monster that's not a token. So you can make like summon Venus, 3 shine balls. You make 1 shine ball into Link Spider, the other shine ball into the Amduk. You have 4 monsters with different names. So you make Saryu to draw 4, and off of that, sometimes you'll draw like Diviner, and then be like special Diviner with fucking Saryuja, and then you just do the whole Master Flare play. It's just been very good. So, and then the old boy, the Moon. Also forgot to mention the Pluto, the level 5 Exceed, or the level 5 Synchro. It doesn't have agent in its name, but it's always treated as a the agent card. So I just wanted to mention that. Anyways, so this one you can come back down here, babe. So Moon, link 2 fairy monsters. When it's a link summon, you can send 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to graveyard, or 1 card that lists it from deck to graveyard. You just send Majesty Hyperion, because Majesty Hyperion is usually the Reborn, you know what I mean? So And also, it has a very good second effect that people just don't know about, where you can tribute a fairy monster to pop one card your opponent controls. So that's why, like, I figured this deck was just very inherently good going a second. And I was right. I lost a lot of die rolls with this deck and just wasn't sad on how it performed. So, and obviously the one Dagda, fairy monster, and the Hulk. That's it for the Link 2s. So. And then for the Link 3, the only Link 3 is the Parshath. This card, you can just discard a card. You can also send this with Master Flare to copy it, but that seldomly comes up. If you really want the Fallen Sanctuary, you can do that. But so this card, you can discard a card to add the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand, or a card that lists it. Also, it has that second effect where if a fairy monster leaves the board, you can banish a fairy monster and special summon one from your hand that's levels higher than it. But that's what I was saying, where if you draw the Christia, you can leave this up and then do the Hulk, tag out into Wonder Magician, into the Scythe, into the Baron, or the Chang Ying, or whatever. Because you usually Master Flare first, depending on what your hand is. And then that'll trigger this, since Scythe is a fairy that went to graveyard, and you can special summon Celeste, the Christia from your hand, which is very nice. And then I play 3 Link 4s, very standard. So the Appaloosa, this card's a fairy. People forget this is a fairy. So you take no battle damage through it if people try to kill this one with Sanctuary and this guy's on the field. Also access code. Like I said, if you do the Saryuja play, obviously I play Saryuja, but if you do the Saryuja play, you have so many different like attributes, the earth, the wind. You'll obviously have a light somewhere. I was very happy with how this extra deck performed. I really wanted to play the Zombie Vampire. That card just hasn't come up enough for me to play it yet, but I'm still thinking about cutting Pluto, but we'll see. Pluto's still just very insane. So I'm just going to show you a quick combo real quick. It's not like it's a very standard combo. You guys have probably seen it before. Let me pull this out. I think that's it. And once again, there's so many other things you can do in this deck with the combo. But this will just be the combo real quick. It's just the 1-card Diviner combo. Once again, if you open Salesman, you won't get ashed or nipped or whatever the fuck. So, all right, you can see this here, babe. Mm-hmm. All right, field center of the Moki. So you'll just normal summon Diviner, activate effect to send the Trias. Okay, you activate Trias effects. And like I said, if you open Trias, you can just chain to, if they imperm or Veiler this, you can chain this to tribute it anyways. So you tribute this to summon this, and then Diviner will activate, summon the Bhutan. Level 1 tuner, level 9 non-tuner. So synchro these. This gets banished when it leaves the board. And you'll synchro into the Master Flare. Oh boy. This card's just like my favorite card in the deck, to be honest. Okay, so you'll use Master Flare, and you'll send regular Venus from deck to graveyard. And then you'll pay 500. And you'll pay 500. And you'll pay 500. I guess I should just put this over here. I usually do it in either this side or this side, so we'll do this. Okay. And then here, you go down to graveyard and banish the Bhutan to make one of these a tuner. So this will be a tuner. Link those 2 away into the Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber's effects. We'll then summon one from deck. You can summon whatever. I just like to get the Plague Spreader out of the deck because it's a great follow-up card for the next turn if you need it. So we're here. You have Plague Spreader and the other Shine Ball. Link those 2 away into the Dagda. Okay. So once again, you still have 4 cards in hand. You can still see all this, babe. Mm-hmm. Okay. So on your opponent's turn, obviously they start playing whatever you tag the Hulk, which will chain the Dagda to set the Scythe. And then obviously Hulk will tribute or will summon the Wonder Magician effect, target pop Scythe. Scythe effect in graveyard, summon, Scythe effect again, and then you'll chain the Wonder Magician to synchro these 2 away. You'll usually make Baron here. There's actually been a lot of hands where I'll actually make Baron, Majesty, Hyperion before I even do any of this combo, and then instead when you do that combo, you will summon the Chang Ying. So when you have the banish for this, or the banish for the Fallen Sanctuary that you search out Parshath, you will trigger this to banish 2 more cards as well. So, and then yeah, guys. So that's just pretty much the standard combo. I will, like I said, have more combos with this deck, and I will come back with different lists and stuff. I want to make another list. There's a certain way I want to do it. I just want to get this list off first. I really enjoyed how this deck performed. So, and then for the honorable mentions, you can play more of these. I was playing 2 Hyperion at one point. I cut the second one because it's searchable, so you don't need to draw it. This was a card I was actually maining to, was the Alpha. This card's just very good going second. Also, it's a level 8, so you can still make Baron or the Changing with it. You can't make Master Flare because it needs a fairy, unfortunately. But and then more of these if you want. I also was playing this. This card just never came up ever, so I cut it. It was kind of like a brick if your hand wasn't already good. 2 more of the Hecatrice. I still think people should test this before they bash it. The card's just really insane. And then obviously this stuff like instant fusion, ready fusion with this because this is a fairy tuner. So, and then you can play like talents, stuff like that. And then also shout out my boy the worst duelist. I really like Time Lords. He's playing this card in the main deck, and if I was playing this card in the main deck, I would actually probably play at least 1 Time Lord in the main deck just in case you had the follow up for like the burn damage or the return their whole board damage. Like if you side in Droplet or Dark Ruler or something like that. And then like you could play these too if you wanted to. That's like a good side option. And then for the extra deck too, for honorable mentions, you could do this or the Psychic Guy, second one of those. The Cupid Pitch, I saw a couple of Cupid Pitch lists because when you link synchro off the Cupid Pitch, it adds another Neptune from deck to hand. This card's also very good. The Entist for the Diviner, and then I actually really wanted to play Birdman. Birdman just got cut soon after because I never saw there's no way to search it. It's just like if you draw it with Venus, it's good. Like, you know what I mean? But just something to note. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll have more agent lists. Also, ask me questions down below. Let me know what deck profiles you want to see, all that. And thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.